When you look at members of the Samoan bloodline like Rikishi, Umaga, Solo Sikoa, the Usos, The Rock, and Roman Reigns, they have had a pretty good start in wrestling, and as far as we know, this is what they've always wanted to do. But imagine one day, you're in one of your darkest moments in your life, and you see members of your family living their dreams out and on the big screen, and you decide one day, that's what I want to do as well. For Jacob Fatu, that's exactly what happened to him. His direction in life wasn't as easy as the guys I just called out, and he had to go through a rough period in his life before finally finding his direction in life. Today, we'll look at the rise of Jacob Fatu and how he went from in prison to somehow finding his way in WWE. Now, before I get into this video, I do want to say rest in peace to Sika in Hawaii, as for some of you who don't know, that is the father of Roman Reigns, and at the time of making this video, he did pass away at the age of 79, so my condolences go out to his family, friends, and anybody else close to him. I'm not going to ask you guys to subscribe at the intro. I'm not going to ask you guys to like the video or anything like that. But the hope is at the end of this video, I earn your guys' subscription because how good the video was. But anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this. Jacob Fatu was born April 8th, 1992. And he was the son of Sam Fatu, aka the Tonga Kid, who also appeared for the WWF and WCW. Sam Fatu gained most of his prominence during the 80s and 90s, where he was known for his high-flying moves and charismatic persona. Sam Fatu was obviously the brother of Eddie Fatu, who is the late great Umaga, and he's also the cousin to several other bloodline members like The Rock, Roman Reigns, the Usos, etc. Now, like I said earlier, Jacob never wanted it to wrestle, despite the fact he grew up in a family that was rich in values when it came to wrestling. However, like I said in the intro, all it takes is one dark moment, one mishap in your life to finally realize, I need to make a change. I need to make a career direction. I need to make something of myself before I go down this rabbit hole once again. And for Jacob Fatu, that's exactly what happened to him. When Jacob was just 18 years old, he ended up committing an armed robbery and spent some time in jail. That also included his 18th birthday. Now, for the most part, I was not able to find any specific information or even the amount of time he spent in this prison, but it was while in this prison, Jacob Fatu finally realized, I need to make a change. I need to take a step up. I need to change my life for myself, my kids, and my wife. And for Jacob, it would take one moment on TV for him to realize this is not the life for me. While Jacob was in prison flipping through the TV, he managed to catch Monday Night Raw. While he was watching Monday Night Raw, he saw none other than the legendary tag team, the Usos, making their debut on Monday Night Raw, and they would be attacking the Hart Dynasty. It was at that moment that Jacob realized he wanted to become a professional wrestler. But hold on, he saw that he wanted to become a professional wrestler. He put the moment or idea into his head. However, it was not set in stone quite yet. Now, when Jacob first got out of jail, he started working at a bar as a bouncer, making around $60. Once again, the idea of wrestling while into his head was not put into motion quite yet. But then he got a phone call from one of the Usos' younger brothers, not Solo, but Tamiko Fatu, who once again put the idea of wrestling into his head. But once again, Jacob Fatu was hesitant. He knew how the business affected his dad and his other families, and he saw the toll it took on them. So Jacob basically said he didn't respect the business in a way, and he saw how grueling it was, so that's why he didn't put it into motion quite yet. After a while though, Fatu, Jacob, finally got his act together, and he was beginning to wrestle and start training. Jacob will be trained by 3 wrestlers: Rikishi, I'm pretty sure most of you guys know who this is, Black Pearl, but also Sambo D. And for some reason you don't know who this guy is, he actually appeared in WWE for a little bit too as Kazarni. Yeah, if you remember that, you are an old head. Jacob would admit how his first few weeks starting wrestling was hard and grueling. He even broke down after seeing how hard the business was, what his dad had to go through, what his uncle had to go through, what his cousins probably even had to go through. He was finally starting to see that this business was not a joke, and if you truly want to make it in it, you had to grind, you had to fight through the pain, you had to fight through everything to get where you want to be. Jacob would spend the next couple years mostly working in indie promotions in California, and even made a trip to Mexico to wrestle for the Crash in a trios match, losing to Octagon and Blue Demon Jr. He would also begin to gain some traction in PCW, where there he formed a tag team with Yosef Salam, called War Beast. After spending a large portion of his time on the indies, Jacob Fatu would finally get signed to a major promotion, which was MLW, otherwise known as Major League Wrestling. Now, Jacob would already have a few family members at his promotion that included Samu and Samu's son, Lance Hawaii. Lance actually appeared on Monday Night Raw one time during the Shane McMahon feud with Roman Reigns, in case you don't remember that. He would make his debut at MLW Super Fight, and not to go off topic, but this card was stacked with a number of stars like Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, the Lucha Bros, Brian Pillman Jr., Alexis King, and future AEW World Champion MJF. But anyways, Yosef Salam and Jacob Fatu would team up to take on the tag team of Chico Adams and Kwame Naj. They would end up winning that match. He would then be a part of a stable called the Contra Unit. This also involved his tag team partner Yosef Salam, Simon Gotch, you may remember as a part of the tag team the Vaudevillains with Aiden English, and also Davari, who you may remember as the manager of Muhammad Hassan from 2004 to 2005. And this stable had a crazy name. It stood for Crusading Operations of Nihilistic Terror Revolution Armada Unit. Yeah, that long. Crazy name, but it's hard. Crazy, but it's hard. This stable Contra would begin to terrorize MLW for months, and then Jacob would set his sights on the MLW World Champion, Tom Lawler, and at Kings of the Coliseum, Fatu would face Lawler for the MLW title, and he would end up winning that title. Fatu would face a number of stars over the next couple years for this title, including Enzo Amore, Daniel Garcia, Homicide, yes, even Gangrel, and also Karrion Kross, aka Killer Kross. Eventually though, after an 819-day reign with the title, Fatu would lose the title to Alex Hammerstone in a winner-take-all match at MLW Fightland, as also the MLW Openweight title was on the line in this match as well. And I do recommend, if you haven't seen Jacob Fatu fight ever, I would recommend you watch that match. Fatu would then later win the MLW Openweight title, defeating John Hennigan, who you may know as John Morrison, Johnny Elite, Johnny TV, Johnny Impact. Yes, this guy's a lot of names. As far as the Contra stable though, after losing that War Chamber, MLW's version of basically War Games, basically Contra would begin to split up, and this is where Jacob Fatu would slowly begin to become a babyface in the promotion. He began to feud with members of his former stable Contra, and then they would even reunite to basically take him out. Fatu's last match at MLW would be against Mods Kruger in a Balak Brawl match, in which he lost. It was then announced shortly after this, during 2024, that Jacob Fatu was officially a free agent. But he would make an appearance in 2024 for New Japan Pro Wrestling, teaming with Shota Umino and Fred Rozier, who you may remember as Darren Young in WWE, and in winning effort against Tom Lawler, the guy he beat for the MLW title, the West Coast Wrecking Crew, Jorel Nelson, and Royce Isaacs as well. While Jacob was a free agent, he obviously gained interest from a number of promotions that included WWE, AEW, and TNA. But we all know the promotion he signed for. It was announced during WrestleMania weekend, April 7th, 2024, that Jacob Fatu had signed with WWE officially. Obviously, he would make his debut on June 21st of Smackdown, joining the Bloodline, attacking Randy Orton, putting him through a barricade, attacking Kevin Owens, Samoan dropping him on the steel steps, and then putting Cody Rhodes through a table after doing a frog splash, and even broke a couple of Cody ribs apparently. Oh, to say this guy made an impact quick would be very true. It was also announced that he would appear in a 6-man tag team match with the Bloodline taking on RKO and Cody Rhodes. To this point, it's not confirmed who exactly will be the one competing in that match, whether it's going to be Tangaloa and Tama Tonga and Solo, but we all know it's going to be Solo, but we're not sure if it's going to be Tama, Tonga, Jacob Fatu. Both of them, we really don't know yet. Now, I've said this before, Jacob reminds me a lot of Kevin Owens, Ivar, Bam Bam Bigelow, all those guys when it comes to wrestling as a whole. He's big, but this guy is agile, he's fast, this guy's a freak of nature basically. Promo wise, I think he's a lot like Solo Sikoa when he was in NXT. Whenever they let Solo Sikoa cut promos for the most part, he was good, but when he got into the main roster, they didn't let him cut a lot of promos and be himself. But with Jacob Fatu, I think that's what he reminds me of a lot, in my opinion. Honestly, I think he's good at pretty much everything in wrestling. Promos, as a wrestler, he can pretty much do everything, in my opinion. But imagine seeing a guy his size do a split-legged moonsault. A guy his size, a whisper in the wind like he does, a moonsault. Imagine seeing anybody do that. You would be terrorized. Once again, like I said, if you have not taken the time to watch Jacob Fatu wrestle, I promise you, you would not be disappointed. This guy is genuinely exciting and thrilling to watch. Frankly, I'm eager to see how this whole bloodline is going to work out, because Jacob does not take me as the guy that's going to take orders from Solo. He seems like a guy who's going to be on his own, or basically the guy who's going to want to step up as the leader. This guy is better than Solo, in my opinion, so why would he want to play second fiddle to him? But we'll see. I'm also excited to see this guy in the ring, like I said, though. But WWE will probably limit his moveset, knowing them. It's WWE. They do it a lot. Jacob Fatu's story is a very unique one and a very inspiring one, and definitely one I want to see lead to him ending up as a success and one day competing at WrestleMania. This is proof. No matter what happens in your life, no matter what obstacle course you go through, it's never too late to live out any dream you want. And for Jacob Fatu, right now he's living that. This guy went from being in jail to being in WWE. I mean, Booker T, MVP, they did it too, but you don't see that a lot nowadays, honestly. So Jacob, honestly, is a guy I'm rooting for a lot. And like I said, I hope this ends in a success story. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to my channel and tap the bell icon for future wrestling content. Follow me on my social medias down below in the description. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. All that's going to be down below in the description. And make sure you tap the bell icon on your way out. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.